Hello, everybody. Welcome to a show to be named later. A show talking about sports. My name's Chase. This is Will. We're going to have a little roundtable type discussion about a few current sporting events in the world going on right now, preferably in the South. Will, I want to start off by talking about college football, the upcoming season. The season's actually already started last night with a couple big games starting off. What's your take
one big game and a couple scrubs.
Yeah, I was going to say, what's your take on South Carolina A&M? I think A&M just scored again.
They did. I heard them just blow the whistle. It was another touchdown by A&M and Kenny Hill. Well, I mean, if we're going to start off with the A&M game, let's start off with talking about Kenny Hill.
Okay.
Kenny Hill, can I help you, Johnny Manziel? Welcome to the show, Kenny. I don't think anybody's going to miss Johnny Manziel. As a matter of fact, I think this guy's a better quarterback than Johnny Manziel. Whoa. Johnny Manziel was a guy that liked some flair. He liked to run around and toss it all over the field like a mobile Brett Favre. But Kenny Hill displayed last night what were some great quarterback skills. He sat in the pocket. He was 44 of 60 with 511 yards and 3 touchdowns.
Okay.
I mean, how much better do you need? What do you need from a guy?
No, you don't need anything else.
So, and I don't know if it's Kenny Hill or if it's Steve Spurrier and my throw my visor on the ground defense was that bad. I don't know which one. We'll see, because there are going to be more games where Kenny's going to have a chance to put on to showcase his talents, if you will.
Right. I mean, I'm not ready to anoint the kid yet. I mean, yeah, he had a fabulous game. I mean, he broke Manziel's single game passing record. At Texas A&M. But I think you got to give some respect to Sumlin. I think a lot of people thought Sumlin was just a pretty face behind Manziel, but I think the guy actually can coach. Defense was much improved. Defense was much improved last night.
Yes.
And also, I think there was a bunch of holes in that South Carolina defense. So we'll see what Kenny Hill looks like when maybe faces a little bit better defense. Not taking anything away from South Carolina, but
yes, we are.
They couldn't stop water draining out of the bucket last night.
Absolutely. I mean, we're definitely taking something away from South Carolina.
Yeah.
I mean, to their credit, you're going to have a hard time replacing 3 starters.
Right.
All 3 defensive linemen, 3 starters on the defensive line. All 3 went to the NFL.
Uh-huh.
Not to mention that one of them was the number 1 overall pick in the NFL draft, and both of their starting cornerbacks are in the NFL as well. So you're going to have a hard time replacing some of that, but they're not replacing them with sophomores or juniors. They're replacing them with true freshmen. So, yeah, I agree with you.
Texas A&M is a real deal. As a Bama fan myself, I'm almost scared to play them now. I mean, I didn't look at them as a huge game on the schedule, but now I think that game, on our schedule could be a huge game.
So you know who Kenny Hill is now?
Yeah, I know who he is now.
Okay, fantastic.
All right, so going in, from that game, talking about a couple other games that happened last night, real quick. Vandy Temple, what was that?
Well, I don't know what that was.
I mean, the only thing I really want to talk about out of that game, other than Vandy getting blown out of the stadium, is their little uniform penalty they had.
Well,
you hear about that?
Well, yeah. First of all, let me say this: I'm not sure what the problem was with the uniforms. To be honest with you, I really don't care. My understanding was, and I'm obviously probably wrong, but my understanding was that I guess he didn't know which team he was calling the penalty on. They don't call names. If you get a false start, it's false start on number 65 left tackle.
Yeah.
Back 5 yards.
They started calling names in college football on penalties.
Well, then the anchor down is going to be a problem.
Yeah, anchor down is getting penalized. It dog out.
It was.
Here's the thing, though. I'm not sure if it was what the jersey said. They said anchor down on the back of their jerseys, which is Vandy's little slogan or whatever.
Motto.
I'm not sure if it was that it said anchor down or it was because the unis were black and anchor down was written in a very dark gray and it was hard to see. Anyway, the ref goes and penalizes the team 1 timeout for the half.
Oh, they penalized them a timeout.
Yeah, for the uniform.
Oh, yeah. But the game had already started.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, if you're an NCAA official, you're out on the field during warm-ups. At what point do you look at the coach and say,
well, no. I think,
hey, boss,
I think he might have done it.
All black ain't going to work for us tonight.
I think he might have done it before. I'm not sure when he done it. Okay, I didn't really watch that game. Wasn't really worth watching. But anyway, okay, so he calls the penalty, no matter where it's at. But
that's first day crap.
Dude, I've never seen this happen before, but Vandy gets a fax from the SEC office.
Says they can't wear the unis.
No, they get the penalty overturned. So the SEC said it was okay, so I don't know what the deal is.
Absolutely.
Anyway,
people go to these schools for some of these neat uniforms. I know that's crazy, but they do. That's
Yeah,
why
I
they
mean,
go. I mean, you don't tell me everybody goes to Oregon because you want to play football in the northwestern part of the country.
no, yeah,
You go because they've got
go
some
for the
badass uniforms.
Right. You got 14 games, homie. We got 14 uniforms for you. I mean, you know, we got a different uniform every game, which that's cool for some people.
We change everything down to the shoelaces.
Yeah, there you go. And then last night, Ole Miss Boise. That game was a little bit surprising to me.
TV?
It was on TV. Yeah,
okay.
we watched it.
Yeah, okay.
So, you know, I know Boise's not what they once were, but I expected a much better performance out of Ole Miss. I mean, that game was 7-6 all the way to the fourth quarter. Boise ran that ball down an SEC defense's throat. I mean, aside from Robert Condici, I mean, Boise was just moving the ball. Seemed like almost at will. You know, going along with Bo Wallace's 3 picks. I mean, that was a ball game that was the best ball game of the night, in my opinion.
Yeah. I mean, before we wrap this segment up, I want to touch on USC and the debacle that is out there. You got a guy who is suspended indefinitely for lying because he jumped off of a balcony and sprained both of his ankles.
Supposedly.
Then you got another guy who's just accused Steve Sarkisian for being a racist.
Man, that program is just going downhill. I mean,
I think Lane Kiffin's still there. I think that what you have at Bama is not really a Lane Kiffin.
Yeah.
It's just
you think it's a body double?
It is a body double. Figment of your imagination.
Lane Kiffin standing there pulling strings. Hey, you know,
I think Kiffin's taking over as the AD out there at USC.
Hey, man, you know what? Nowadays, Kiffin's my boy. You can't be ripping on him anymore. You know, he's up there in T-Town, so I gotta be behind him now. Okay.
Good luck.
All right, so what you got there?
Well, I wanted to talk about the PGA Tour and kind of get into a little bit of that. That season is starting, or that professional sport is starting to wrap up this year. Mm-hmm. It's had a good year, I think. Where you didn't see the most dominant player in the world really play. He was there, but not
played.
really.
He was there. He was wearing a swoosh.
Oh, he was wearing a swoosh. He was
he
there,
played.
but that was all. He just showed up. He played about as much.
I think we're talking about a different guy here.
No. He played as well. He played as well as the South Carolina defense. And that was fantastic. And he probably whiffed as much as the South Carolina defense. And I'm talking about Tiger Woods. I know who you're talking about.
Yeah, you know who I'm talking about.
Your man crush.
Yeah.
You
know who I'm talking about, big boy.
Hey, I hear you. But here's what I'm saying. On the PGA Tour, you had a good year. You had McIlroy come out, kind of take the lead. Mm-hmm. Right? He's the number one player in the world. First time that a number one player in the world has won a major as being the number one player in the world since Tiger Woods. Yeah. So that's impressive. But I don't know that he has Player of the Year locked up on the PGA Tour.
I mean,
Martin Kaymer? Anybody? Hello? I think so.
What?
Man, why not?
I mean,
he dominated.
He blistered the field in the U.S. Open, but I mean, dude, won the Players, great. I mean, but going 3 in a row.
Let me tell you
including 2 majors?
You went to the Players this year, and you didn't even see him play, did you? Didn't even know who he was.
Well, I knew
all about him.
I didn't see him. I didn't want to watch him.
Let me tell you, Martin Kaymer went from hitting the draw, which laid him at 200 and something in the world, to back to hitting the fade that won him a PGA championship. Yeah. And now
I don't even know how you can make that argument that Kaymer can even rival McIlroy for Player of the Year. I mean, that dude is letting it rip so hard right now. I mean, it's unreal. I mean, watching him hit that driver and everything he's hitting, you know, it's incredible. I mean, the guy's got to have Player of the Year locked up. You got the Open, you got the WGC Bridgestone locked up, and then you got the PGA at the end of the year. I mean, I think he's got to go for the. I don't know what you're going to call it when he gets it, but it's the Tiger Slam. He's going to hold all 4 majors at one time.
Whoa, kitten, whoa.
Bold prediction there.
No. He is not going to be holding all 4 in a row.
Hey.
Not going to happen. He only won the U.S. Open on a sponge of fairways at Congressional several years ago. I mean, that thing was so wet.
Are you discounting his 8-shot win at the U.S. Open?
He won it it was like a sponge out there. I mean, can I get a... How did he do this year at the Open? On a real open course. Hard fairways, fast speeds, everywhere. Fast greens, fast fairways.
Let me ask you a question real quick. Are you familiar with the game of golf at all?
Absolutely.
You say a real U.S. Open course?
Yeah.
The U.S. Open course has never been set up like Pinehurst was set up this year. I mean, did you even watch the tournament? Didn't you have any rough?
They set up that golf course based on some
I mean, Kaymer was putting from 40 yards off the green. I mean,
That's hard.
They played in a parking lot.
No, they didn't.
I mean, not to discount the.
Well, okay, then if you hit it 340 and as straight as he supposedly hits it, then why weren't you hitting it through the parking lot?
He was going to the left.
Right,
He had a little curvature on that week. A little off week there. Mm-hmm. That's all right.
What happened is Wozniak was still holding on to them ankles, trying to keep him inside the house, keep him from going out. Hey. And then and all of a sudden, he finally shook her loose. Hey,
unlike Tiger, at least McIlroy knows the personal steps to take, to get his professional.
You're right.
Life
He didn't get
order.
hit by Scotty Cameron while sleeping on the couch after Thanksgiving dinner.
I think it was a 9-iron, by the way.
9-iron, whatever.
Yeah.
So, all right. So while we're talking about the PGA Tour, let's talk about the Ryder Cup that's upcoming.
All right.
Ryder Cup is, I think, the premier.
You mean the European Cup?
Well, okay, yeah, you're sure as of late, but the Ryder Cup is the premier event of, if you want to call it, postseason play.
Mm-hmm.
So, with the Ryder Cup being the big talk coming up now, we've got a couple of spots left open on the Ryder Cup where Watson has to make a decision. He gets 3 picks.
Mm-hmm.
The guys in the running for the picks are Webb Simpson, Spieth.
Is Spieth not in there already?
I'm sorry, Spieth is in there. I apologize. You're right. It's Webb Simpson. It's Snedeker.
Okay.
Ryan Moore. I like PGA logos. Bill Haas is out there going for having an opportunity to running for a deal, and Keegan Bradley, who I don't even understand why that's even a question. I mean, that's like the Americans' version of in Poulter. Why would you not put Keegan Bradley on the team?
Keegan's got that Northeast, Boston boy fire about him, and Keegan's a good player in his own right anyway. I mean, he's one of the best players in the world. But yeah, he absolutely, I think, deserves to be on the team. Just with the fire he brings to the team and his competitiveness and willingness to be out there.
Well, Bradley was being interviewed just this week about being in the Ryder Cup, and his quote was that, he wants to make the team. He's going to do all he can to prove that he should be worthy of a pick. Mm-hmm. But he thinks about this in his sleep. Yeah. That's the kind of guys we need. If we're going to compete with the Europeans and get back and become a dominant force in the Ryder Cup again, we need guys that are passionate about the Ryder Cup, who aren't just trying to tee it up because they know they're on the team every other year.
Getting that sweet-looking staff bag.
Tiger Woods, winning record. Phil Mickelson, winning record. I heard somebody say they were building the team around Phil Mickelson. Are you serious with the losing record?
I mean, Phil's a good player. I've never seen... Phil's never been that impressive in a Ryder Cup, and he hadn't really had an impressive season this year other than, what's the term I'm thinking about?
I don't know, the one where he's hitting off the beer deck?
The PGA. He played a good week that week. He contended. But yeah, and then last week he's over there in the Miller Lite tent 3 days in a row.
Hitting off the deck.
Yeah, I mean,
He bet a guy out of the crowd. Did you hear about that? Gave him 4-1 odds on a shot that he could get it up and down. Got it up and down. Or didn't get it up and down, slipped the guy 20 on his way to the next 2 blocks. Thanks to Bones for carrying the cash in the bag.
Yeah,
good job, Bones. All right, so with that being said, then I say we go ahead and wrap up the PGA Tour. It's been an interesting year. I think McIlroy probably end up being Player of the Year, but
Not only that, but I think McIlroy's helped the game of golf in Tiger's absence.
Absolutely.
Obviously Tiger made golf a sport, made it cool, made it very popular. I think McIlroy is on his way to doing that. I think he started doing that. I think he's drawing some younger guys, youth back into the game.
Yeah.
So kudos to him and good job on that. So moving on from there, a little bit on the NFL. First off, I just want to talk about preseason penalties. I mean, when are we going to get the flags around the waist?
Well, not only that, but not only
take them helmets off. Let's see those faces. Let's get to know our NFL stars.
Absolutely.
I mean, let's
touch football,
flag, touch, whatever.
Matter of fact, I think, if I'm not mistaken, there are more hits in the lingerie league than there are in the NFL right now.
I think we'd probably rather watch that than the NFL.
I know I would.
Yeah, I mean, can't lie about
that. But with that being said, you're right. There's a lot of penalties. They need to make a decision. The NFL needs to make a decision. Goodell needs to make a decision about whether we're going to, what can we establish what holding is, and then let's stick to that. I mean, can we say that there ought to be a little bumping?
You slide down a slippery slope right there, because if you want to talk about holding, I mean, obviously the old cliche is, well, you can call holding on every play. The thing that's got me, most upset are the pass interference calls, okay, and the what's the word am I thinking of? Basically, spearing with your helmet. I mean, I understand it to a degree. You can see 9 times out of 10 malice in a guy looking to, take a guy out.
But in the
good
fields,
hard
if you're
hit.
coming over the middle of the field and you're the safety, and like the motto that you're supposed to separate the player from the ball.
Well, yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
And another problem I have with that is the fact that now they're being so stringent on this. All right, well, for how many years, not only the NFL but football in general, have they sold their product on big hits?
Oh,
how many
absolutely.
commercials you see on TV?
Absolutely.
How many recruiting videos do you see these colleges give kids about these just
Well,
gnarly
if you're a
hits?
linebacker in high school, you're not sending a recruiting video to colleges based on how many shoestring tackles you make.
Right. Yeah, exactly. I mean, you know,
You're sending plays of you lighting a guy up as he's hitting the A gap out of the backfield.
yeah. East Division, real quick. I mean, I got Philly coming out of NFC East.
Now I got the Redskins. No freaking way.
No.
Those boys and at the Eagles play as much defense as South Carolina, so that's why they're not coming.
I like Nick Foles. You know, LaShawn McCoy and their speed. You know, I think Robert Griffin the third.
Let me tell you what,
his
if-
knees, boy.
I hear you, but if you can make it through a season, and the receiver for Philadelphia that came out of Missouri a couple of years ago. If he can make it through a season, that's fine. That's one guy, and you got Riley Cooper, but that's it. Deshaun Washington was your lead stud horse on that, and he's gone. See you later.
Deshaun Jackson.
Deshaun Jackson, sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, my bad. Yeah.
All right, I got you.
All right.
All right.
So out of the East, I got Redskins, you got Philly.
I got Philly. All right, out of the North, you know, it's hard for me. I think Cutler is going to have a good year.
Okay, I can see that.
I'm not necessarily picking the Bears. I think Cutler's going to have a really good year. I think Marshall.
And if
is
he
heading
doesn't,
the
somebody's going to get blamed for it.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, they're going to blame the backup quarterback.
Right.
He wasn't holding the clipboard at the right height for him to see the play.
Right.
I didn't see the play.
Right.
I like Brandon Marshall too. I can't really pick against my boy Aaron Rodgers there in Green Bay though. I mean that guy's just amazing.
I like
He's
the Packers.
Yeah, Packers are good.
That's a large amount of talent to have on that team. So I think a good
Yeah.
coach. They've got Don Capers running the defense. If he can get that figured out, then I think you're going to have the Packers.
Sure.
Could possibly represent the NFC.
Clay Matthews having a great season with his commercials too. I mean he's
Absolutely.
got hair,
Yeah.
soups.
Well, and the
Razors.
super big stickers that you put.
Yeah,
on
the
wall.
fan hit. Yeah,
Fan hit,
yeah,
yeah.
he's doing great.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
All right, moving on to the South. I got Carolina.
You got to be kidding me. All right, New Orleans Saints. Drew Brees, I like to sling it all over the parking lot. So that's who I'm going with. What about the West?
The Seahawks. I mean,
Yeah,
you can't. It's not even an argument. I think
You'd
we
like
both-
to think the 49ers, but they can't keep anybody out of it. Everybody's in jail or being investigated by the police, so
Yeah.
they're lucky they can kill the team at this point.
Yeah. So AFC East, I got the Pats.
Ooh, look out.
Who you got?
Gangrene Jets, baby. Look out for the Jets.
Oh, no way.
Yes, sir.
No way, big guy.
Yes, he is. I'm telling you, my boy Rex is going to come through this year.
All right, I gotta take Baltimore.
Finally got rid of the anchor Mark Sanchez. Sent him packing.
Hey, you know what? Replace him with Geno Smith, and you get the same result.
No.
Out of the North, I gotta take my boys. Got to take
Michael Vick and his
Baltimore.
puppy dogs are there too. Right,
Baltimore got C.J. Mosley up there in that defense. You know, he could be, maybe not quite as good as Ray Lewis, but maybe a little bit of the second coming.
I
gonna make that
I
bold
like C.J.
prediction
Mosley.
there.
I think he had a heck of a college career, so I do like C.J. Mosley there. But coming out of the North, I've got the Cincinnati Bengals. Cincinnati Bengals.
Not unless they got McCarron starting for
Andy Dalton, Red Rocket at quarterback.
McCarron.
Is going to hold the clipboard as much as
Your boy Chase Daniel.
Chase
right?
Daniel
Yeah,
coming
hey,
out
he
of
does
coming
it
out of
well.
Missouri.
You know,
Yeah.
Chase
Chase
boys
Daniel.
make a pretty good paycheck for doing that too.
Absolutely. Hey, look, I'd hold a clipboard any day.
Yeah,
But
I'll
the
do it.
second you call my name, I'm coming up with a high ankle sprain like Shaw. Jumped off a balcony. Can't
Me,
play
coach?
Can't play coach. I'm out.
All right, out of the South, I think we both got Indy.
Yeah, I mean
Andrew
Luck. I think you could see Andrew Luck take a step this year, and he become one of the top 3 quarterbacks in all of NFL. And I know that may be a stretch, but this guy has had some really, really successful games, and he's only in his going into his second year now.
No, look.
Third year, going into his third year. I apologize.
Yeah,
going into his third year.
Yeah, he's got all the skills.
And I think, and I tell you, I'm gonna throw you a little bone on this one too, because you're a Bama boy. I think Trent Richardson could have a good year this year.
Hey, you know what? I'll be
He's
all
due.
for that. He's
Absolutely.
due. He is.
He's
I
due.
mean, he ain't really made a big splash since he's gotten there, like I thought he would. Like I think most people thought he would.
Right.
I'm looking for that. I'd be happy for that with Trent Richardson. And then out of the West, we both got to go with your man crush.
Absolutely,
Peyton Manning. Yeah, I mean,
slinging it all over the park.
Yeah, I mean, they'll make it till at least.
Demarius Thomas, they pulled him out of the middle of nowhere, like a cornfield in Iowa or somewhere. Put him in at tight end, boom, there you go, all pro.
Hey, I like Denver this year. They'll play all the way up into the first week of January. So
absolutely, but you know what? They'll get to January, and I don't know if you can say that. About the Patriots. I don't know if they're going to get there. I'm telling you, watch out for Rex and the boys in green.
Hey, I'm ready for this season. We're looking forward to it. It should be an exciting NFL season. Really exciting college football season with the new playoff in place. But anyway. Everybody, thank y'all for joining us for a show to be named later. We're going to try to do this weekly. So once again, thanks.
WCC.